We're going to the burial site of the victims of the 1955 Torit Mutiny. And I'm going to take you through the history of what happened that time and why that place holds a very important place in the history of this nation. Let's go back in history. The year is 1955, and Sudan as a whole was about to gain independence from the joint rule of Britain and Egypt. All right? And that move to grant independence to Sudan caused uneasiness among people in the south of Sudan, okay, because they felt that Sudan was dominated by the north, although the British ruled, but power was vested in the north, in Khartoum. And during the joint rule of the British and the Egyptians, promises were made to the people in the south. They were protected, and they were given autonomy. They were promised autonomy. They were promised federalism to run their activities. So by the time independence was coming, those promises were already disappearing. The promises were not there anymore. All right. So independence was granted to Sudan as a whole, and after that, the northern government took over. And now soldiers from Torit, right, that's what they call the Torit Mutiny, that came in the aftermath of the independence, the Torit Mutiny. Soldiers from the equatorial region who were based in Torit were ordered by the Sudanese government to go north, right? And because of their suspicion of the motives of the northern government, these soldiers were told, there were rumors that they were going to be killed, they were going to be disarmed, they were going to be suspended, and all kinds of things. So their future was not promised. There was nothing promised about their future. So they mutineered. They refused, they rejected the instructions to go north, and they rebelled, and they turned against the authority in Torit. That is in the year 1955. So they killed a number of government officials, and that is what is called the Torit Mutiny. But what followed after that mutiny? Now, we have to acknowledge that the mutineers killed a number of the Sudanese army and government officials and that. But the response of the Sudanese government is what history is talking about. The response was heavy-handed. Lots of people, what you could call a massacre. Many people lost their lives. Many soldiers from the south were killed. Villages suspected of supporting the southern rebels were burned. People were killed, and things like that. So that is what happened at that time, and the victims were buried in a site, okay, that we are going to right now. Now we are standing at the mass grave, the burial site of the victims of the 1955 Torit Mutiny, okay, where those who were killed in the aftermath of that mutiny are buried. We're going to look at the burial site, okay? And it's important that we remember, we don't forget that some events happen in history, and they do not just happen. They leave an echo that lasts through generations. They leave a trauma to those who lost their loved ones. They leave scars and wounds to those who do not know where their loved ones are buried. And also they teach us a lesson about what happened in the past and why we are here today. All right? So these are people that we would call the people who shed what we call the first blood of the revolution that led to the independence of this country. All right? They refused, they mutineered. They fired their weapons. They killed government officials, they killed soldiers at the start of the Torit Mutiny. Okay. Ladi when, also Ladi when?
Up to the mount Petar of Jubale Kuru.
Okay. Yan gibada mentijata jebele Ladi na.
I mean maleni mu.
Minini ya?
Del kulu kan mas grapes udam za to kan tabayana ni.
Tagan udam tanazini?
Udam tanase male kuli tabayana. Ladi Petar of Jebele na.
Ya zo.
They big ataba nas bi bukulu.
Aye.
Yala be katoleto mini tractor abidoku.
Wait, so ita gari naze bijibu bija katulini.
Aye.
Yala tractor abidofuno.
Tractor abidofuno.
Ana fikir gal bokongi katulumo nina kiala bija dofunini.
Ma kan katulumo nina zaman dak
Yeah.
sabze ya batal kan kin mombugal kan katulumon min mala lumon fogo enagde.
Yeah.
Obukun suya goy.
Yeah.
Tabanumon mader kelar fugal monge katul nas.
Aye.
Giji bitum bes direct wal fi mal yalla bega minini. Trakta gafura ge katulitum mogi dofunitum. So de kulu mugaber minini de kulu.
Yeah.
Aye. Bes zaman ya futu kan udam kan bara de. Haywanat bega ja juru yalla taninde kaman zaman na UN jasaidu. Ja dusu dofun la tebe. Lakin male kebir min taraf silik de ladi fakir jabal nak ladi na bagdar silu 500 meters. The turba barao bes ma fajatani fo.
Okay. So those who survived that massacre, the mutineers who survived that massacre, a number of them went into exile into neighboring countries. Others remained within the country but continued an armed resistance under the against the government. And the Anyanyawan revolution was partly formed by the remnants of the mutiny of 1955. So those who survived the mutiny of 1955 joined or formed the Anyanyawan. And the Anyanyawan struggle led to the signing of the Addis Ababa Accord. And when the Addis Ababa Agreement was violated, Southerners rose up again. So when we talk about what led to the liberation of this country, it's important that we know that it's not just a result of a single act, but a series of interconnected events through history, each playing their role in their time, in their era, and passing the baton to the next that subsequently led to the independence of this country.